Got it.
She stole my line.
What?
She stole my line.
I always put several people on the task. And if anybody's ever been on a Zoom with me before, they know, always remind Lori to record because she will actually.
And Lori, are you letting people in? Because I see, can you keep an eye on letting people into the?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. I want to quick introduce you. Is that okay if I take a minute?
You will. Yeah, let's go.
Awesome. So, again, you all know who I am, Lori P. I kind of want to talk about why I was excited to have Jessica here. Kim Smith introduced me to Jessica probably about a year ago, and it's taken sort of this much time for us to actually connect and put this together. So I'm really excited because first of all, it's important to me to always be offering you guys great content, just stuff to really enrich our businesses, enrich our lives, really. So I was super thrilled to meet with Jess and kind of get to know her a little bit, and then invite her in tonight. Her name, our speaker today, is Jessica Shaffer. Jessica is an elite sales and leadership coach at Southwestern Coaching. So this is an elite training that we are receiving tonight. She's not only a practitioner of everything that she teaches, she's passionate about sharing the secrets of top producing salespeople with you. Named top rookie for her first year at Southwestern, Jessica has a track record of being a top producer, 17-year career in sales and leadership. Prior to joining Southwestern, Jessica's career was in banking and wealth management, starting in commercial lending and growing to a division leader of the trust and asset management division of her bank. Additionally, Jessica is a happily married mother of two, a graduate of Louisiana State University, and in their free time, she and her family enjoy traveling to sunny places. Raise your hand if you enjoy traveling to sunny places. Who's going to Punta Cana? Thank you. Today, Jessica will be with us for about a next hour and a half, focusing on what separates top producers from average producers in today's market. As part of promoting the professional sales coaching programs, Top Producers Edge and Managers Edge. Everyone, please silence your phones and help me give a warm welcome to Jessica Shaffer.
Yay!
Jessica.
Thank you, Lori. That was awesome. That was perfect. That was exactly how I wrote it. So let's give Lori a round of applause for her reading skills. Hooray! Round of applause. I'm already just super. I was stoked before. I'm extra stoked to present to all of you today. I love how you're already playing along with me. That's so much fun because it is important to have some fun when we're selling. Is that right? Yes, I see some heads nodding. And so at Southwestern Consulting, we take our job seriously, but we don't take ourselves too seriously. So I invite you guys to laugh with me or laugh at me, whatever it is to you, but let's just have some fun. But what I do encourage us to do is to take this content seriously, because if we do, and we come in with an open mind, we're going to walk away with a couple of ideas at least to help us have more tastings and more team members. And how awesome would that be? Love it. Okay. So I want to encourage all of you to take some notes. So does everybody have a note-taking sheet and a pen? Do we all? Because it's going to be like drinking through a fire hose. So let's make sure we're going to take some notes today. Lori and I have spent a lot of time on this. We spent several hours putting this together. We've got an amazing agenda for you today. It's going to be a little bit like drinking through a fire hose. And we have designed this to accomplish a couple of things. So first, we are going to share some habits that all top producers have in common. And we're going to talk about some technical selling and recruiting ideas that you can use leaving the meeting today. So do we all have something to take notes on? Fantastic. Okay. The second thing that we're going to accomplish today is that Lori and I are going to talk a little bit about our one-on-one coaching programs. So if you are like other people that we work with and you think that having a one-on-one coach could really help you grow, we are going to give you an opportunity to sign up at the end of this workshop. So if this is something that hits you in the gut today and you feel like you should partner with a coach, then you should do it. But if this is not for you, that is absolutely okay too. Whatever category you find yourself in is totally fine. I just encourage you to come into this thing with an open mind, and we're going to take a lot away. So is that cool? Does that sound like a good agenda? Okay, awesome. So the name of this presentation is Habits of Top Producers. So who here in this room would like to be a top producer? And if you're a top producer already, who in this room would like to be an extra elite producer? Show of hands. Okay, I see it. I love it. Yeah, hopefully you do. And you're not thinking, oh, I want to be like a mediocre producer, right? But by a show of hands, how many in here have a goal for adding more teammates and more tastings to your life? How many people have a goal around that? How many of you, I love hands raised here. I want us thinking today, this entire workshop, in terms of that goal. So I want you to take a moment, just a moment here, and on that sheet of paper, I want you to write down what is your goal for 2023 with respect to tastings and teammates. So I'll give you all just a moment to write that goal down, because I want us thinking in terms of this goal for the entire workshop. And I am going to hide my, there, that's helpful. Okay. Does everybody have a goal written down? So what we want to do is we want to make sure when it comes to goals, we want a specific plan to hit it. So ask myself, do I have a specific plan to hit this goal? Is this goal measurable? And do I have someone holding me accountable to doing the things I know I need to do to hit that goal? In working with thousands of people at hundreds of companies in dozens of countries at Southwestern, we have found that in order to be operating at the top of your game, in order to not just accomplish those goals you just wrote down, but to exceed them, it takes mastery in a few areas. These are all areas that we have 100% control over in our business. So we're about to draw something we call the anatomy of a result. So if you have a paper there, I want you to draw a triangle, a pretty big triangle on your paper. And the first area that you need to master is your skill set. So on the left-hand side of your triangle, I want you to write the word skills. So what are some of the skills that are needed to be effective, that we need in order to be effective in recruiting new teammates and holding more tastings? So what are some skills that we need to be more effective there? So I would encourage you, let's have a couple of people take themselves off mute. What kind of skills are needed in order to be effective in getting more teammates and tastings?
Communication.
Communication. Okay, great. What else? Thank you.
Enthusiasm.
Ooh, enthusiasm. Yes, Jill, 100%.
Persistence.
Persistence. Thank you, Crystal. That is fantastic. I'd love to hear one more.
Systems.
Systems. Thank you, Kim. And we're going to talk more about that in just a minute. I really appreciate you teeing me up there. So yes, we need to be able to communicate. And when we're thinking about communicating and selling and in recruiting, we need to be able to generate leads. We need to be able to approach people effectively over the phone or in person or on social media. We need to ask questions to effectively find and develop a need. We need to present with enthusiasm. We need to close for a decision. We need to answer objections, follow up, get referrals. So these are all technical, learnable skills that we need to develop and master in our business to be at the top of our game. Question: has anyone here ever known someone who was a skilled salesperson, but they did not reach their potential because they were not motivated? Anyone known someone like that? No pointing, no calling people out. Just kidding, just kidding. So the second area that you need to master is you need to master motivation. So let's write this on the bottom of our triangle. Motivation is not something that you're born with. Even someone who started out highly motivated can lose that motivation if they're not cultivating it. There is a science to sustained motivation, and our attitude and our self-talk is absolutely something that we can control. So we need to, especially in sales, I mean, because if we're in commission-based sales, is our motivation important to us? It really is, right? Because if not, we see this up and down business. We need to have long-term vision, short-term goals, a purpose bigger than our paychecks. We need to have an attitude of abundance, gratitude. We need to have good self-talk. And these are things that all these aspects, we work on with our coaching clients because they're so vital to mastery. But it's not just enough to want to do well and to have our sales and recruiting skills. To reach your fullest potential, you also need to have, Kim, what was that word again?
Systems.
Systems. Thank you. We need to have incredible systems. So I want you to write systems there on your triangle. So systems are, yes, all the great tools and things software tools and things you have at your disposal. But when we're talking about systems, I really mean, do we have an effective system for managing our time? Especially if we're working our business like in the nooks and crannies of our day. Do we have effective follow-up systems? Do we have effective systems for work-life balance? Do we have effective systems for using our tools effectively and more? So this systems piece, this is one of the most common reasons why people partner up with a coach. Because a lot of people tell us like, hey, I'm pretty skilled. I'm pretty good at what I do. I get a lot of training. Or they'll say like, I'm really motivated, or I wouldn't have gotten this far. I wouldn't have made the leap in the first place. But when it comes to how they spend their time, or how they scale their business, or how they try to have some balance in their lives, they feel like they're all over the place. They feel scattered. They feel reactive. They feel like they're working so hard and they're not getting the results that they want to get. They're like on that hamster wheel. Can anybody relate to that feeling? Yeah, and I want you to ask yourself, when you're feeling that way, like you're on that hamster wheel, how does that make you feel? I'd love some feedback. Like, how does it feel when you feel
out of control?
Overwhelmed.
You lose your confidence.
Let down.
Yeah. This is why this piece is so critical. So we actually do a ton of sales and recruiting training at Southwestern. We don't consider ourselves, though, to be just a trading company. We're not just about sharing ideas. We are about changing people's lives. And the way that you change your life is when we change our habits. This is about the habit of implementing what you know to do. Because I can give you some incredible skills today. We can get super motivated. I can talk about some awesome systems. I will do all of those things. But if we don't have the habit of implementing what we learn, then what happens, a week, 2 weeks after we get all excited in a training? Sort of fades
that
away,
burnout.
right? Yeah, it sort of fades away. So at Southwestern, we are in the business of helping people change their habits. And the way that we do this, because so many people say, I know what it is that I need to do, I'm just not doing it consistently enough, is the key thing to this triangle. And I put this word up on the screen, and I will tell you, I hate this word. I hate this word. This morning when my alarm went off at 5:30 and I was feeling a little bit froggy, just a little bit, and I knew that I needed to go hit the gym, the fact that I had someone waiting there for me at the gym held me accountable to going and doing the thing that I just really didn't feel like doing. So the thing that ties all of this together is that accountability. Someone helping you to do the thing that you know you need to do when the feeling that you said you were going to do it in has left you. So we're kind of like a personal trainer at Southwestern for your life and for your business. So I want you to ask yourself, when it comes to that goal that you wrote down on your paper, who is truly holding you accountable? So I didn't just make this up last night, last week, last year. So this, what we're talking about today, is the methodology of our parent company, Southwestern Advantage. So I don't know, I just want to double check by like raising your hand. Has anyone here ever heard of the Southwestern family of companies or Southwestern Advantage before? Kim has. Yeah, she has. Anyone else? You ever had a kid come to your door, sell you some educational books for your kids? So Southwestern Advantage is the oldest direct sales company in the country. And we got our start in 1855, actually selling Bibles door to door. So our company, Southwestern Consulting, the coaching and training division, was founded to take those concepts and principles that we learned, honed, and perfected over that last century and a half and take it out to the professional world through our programs. So we coach and train clients in 18 different countries. And since 2007, we've coached over 20,000 salespeople, leaders, executives, and just people who want to become better versions of themselves. And in fact, what's really interesting is typically the first people to sign up for coaching in a workshop are the top producers in that organization. So, and we have coached some of the best around the world. And I want to ask you something. Could you imagine that the top producers that we've coached and that we've studied over 150 years, can you imagine that they have a few things in common? Yes. We've heard this saying, success leaves clues, doesn't it? So today I'm going to share a few of these habits with you. And we don't have time, obviously, in the workshop to cover everything that you can learn about sales and recruiting, but I'm going to share with you 3 habits of top producers. We're going to start with a skill habit. We're going to cover a motivational habit. And then we're going to discuss a systems habit that when we apply it, it will definitely take your business to the next level. So are we ready to dig in? Fantastic. All right, so what I want you all to write down, the first habit, so we're talking about habits of top producers. The first habit of top producers I'm going to share with you today is that top producers are students of their game. Students of their game. So I would love for you all to raise your hand if you played a sport or if you played an instrument growing up. Show of hands, who played sports or maybe did an instrument or maybe both? Okay. All right. I'd love to hear just some shout outs like what sports did we play or what instruments did we play?
Swimming.
Swimming,
Clarinet.
Netball.
clarinet, what else?
Netball.
Basketball, football, baseball, and not very good at violin.
Okay. Lots of
Skiing.
Who else? What other? Skiing?
Basketball.
Basketball.
I said netball 5 times, but nobody heard me.
Netball.
Yes, it's an English
Okay.
colonialism game.
That is a new one for me. I get to tell people in my future workshops I'm going to ask, who here plays netball? Love it. Netball. Okay.
See, Kaz played it because she's English. English and Australians and South Africans, New Zealand, most women from those countries know netball. It's very similar to basketball.
Okay, I'm looking this up. Thank you for sharing. I love when
And
I
now
learn
we have
something new in a
pickleball. Now
workshop.
we have pickleball in the mix. Of course, when people are a little bit older, but I would imagine it's going to kind of go down to young people as well.
Yeah.
Here in
it's
Florida,
popular right
pickleball
now.
is huge.
It's pretty big here too. So
Is
let
it?
me ask, and thanks for all the great, you guys are so engaged. This makes my life so much more fun. So if we had to add up all of the hours we have spent practicing our sport or our instrument, whether it's at your house, in your driveway, in your backyard, with your team before school, after school, at the off season, with your friends, how much time would that add up to when you think about all of the time you spent practicing that sport? Would it be hundreds of hours? maybe thousands of hours.
It was way too long
Yes.
ago. I don't remember.
Jessica, I swam competitively from the age 3 to the age 11. So I don't know how many hours I had in the pool every day. I always tell my grandchildren that when they're playing on their phones, I spend as many hours in the pool as they are on their phones.
So we can make the argument that at least hundreds, if not maybe thousands of hours that we spent working on our sport or our instrument. So here's my question. What would the impact have been if you said to your coach, hey, you know what? I don't think I'm going to practice. I don't need to practice. I'm just going to show up for the game. What would your coach have said to you?
That's not going to happen.
You're not playing the game.
Yeah. I mean, and even if your coach had allowed you to play, what would the impact have been on your performance if you had said, I'm just going to show up to the game? Like, how would you have performed?
Fail.
Not as good as you would had
Yeah.
you been going and practicing.
So my next question is, how many of us are doing the same thing professionally? How many of us are showing up in front of our clients or prospects, but if we're being honest with ourselves, we're not putting in the time behind the scenes to get better? I mean, we're getting the same objections every time when we're calling to set appointments. We've been thinking through what it is we should do, but we're not practicing it consistently enough. So we're hearing things like, let me think about it, over and over again, and then we're chasing people. We know we need to ask for referrals, but we don't because we feel uncomfortable, or we don't know what to say because we're not putting in the practice time to strengthen our skills or hone our craft. And if that hits you in the gut, I want you to ask yourself then, what is that impact for you? How is that impacting your ability to hit your goals? I know, it's a bummer. I got to ask some tough questions today. And the thing is if I could teach you a couple of ideas on how to polish up your recruiting skills to get more teammates and more tastings, would that be helpful for us today? Absolutely, yes. And I just want you to know, in our coaching, this is where coaches really come in big time, because they help you practice, drill, and rehearse. They help you get those hours in that you need. So when you show up to the game, you've gotten the practice in that you need to be the best that you can be for your clients and your prospects. So we're going to talk about, first off, the cycle of the sale. So I would like for you on your paper to number 1 through 7, because there are 7 steps to the cycle of the sale. So the words that I'm going to use are probably going to be a little different from the words that you use, but this process should be very much in line with how you do business. So Lori has bragged on this group, so we know that there is a lot here that you all are doing really well. So as I walk you through this, I just want you to identify the parts of this process that you're doing really good at. And I want you to then put a star by the steps that you feel like you can get better at. And we're looking for, what are the things that I can go to work on and get the practice in that I need to give my best. So the first step of the cycle of the sale, and I want to share with you, we can think about this in terms of bringing on new teammates, or we can think about it in terms of bringing on new tastings. But I'm going to talk in terms of bringing on new teammates right now. So the first step of the cycle of the sale is pre-approach. So pre-approach is the background info that you want to know before you call on someone or connect with them on Facebook or Instagram or whatever your social media reach out method is, or before you meet them at a tasting, knowing there might be a good prospect for you as a team member. So that's the pre-approach. So what do we think comes after the pre-approach? What's the next step after pre-approach?
Going to the event.
It is the approach. That was my question just to see who was listening. Okay, just kidding. So the approach is the initial contact that we make with someone either over the phone or in person or on social media. And generally speaking, what is the goal of our approach? What would we like to accomplish when we approach someone? And this isn't to close a sale. Think before that. What do we generally want to do with this person?
Connection.
I love it.
Get their attention.
Yep.
Build rapport.
Even build rapport. Yes, and we're going to talk a little bit more about that too. The approach, the primary goal is to get them to some kind of more formalized meeting, whether it's an appointment, sit down, or even if you're at a tasting, is to get a little time with them after the tasting is over to talk with them to see if they're a qualified prospect for you. So the goal of the approach is essentially to schedule a next step. Make sense? Okay, after we approach someone, then we go to the appointment. And the appointment we're calling the introduction. And this is really the needs analysis. This is where we're asking questions to find pain points and a need. So this is the discovery process here. And this is the part of the process where we are asking questions to find and develop a need. And then after we find a need and we've identified, oh, this person could really benefit or may really benefit from being a cause entrepreneur, we've asked good questions. What do we need to do after we've done the discovery and uncovering their needs and their pain points?
Answer questions. Meet the need.
Love it. Yes, we want to meet the need, and we do that through presenting. So that next step in the sales process or the recruiting process is called the presentation. So this includes all the bells and whistles, all of the facts, all of the benefits, all of the reasons why it would be great to become a cause entrepreneur and what it's going to take in order to become one. And once we present, what do we do? So we found a need, we presented the opportunity to them. What do we always do after we present an opportunity to someone?
Ask for
Try to close it.
Yes, 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 yes. We always, always, always ask for the business. We always close. And now closing is not to say we're manipulating or getting someone to say yes to us that this is not a right fit for. That's not what this is about at all. Effective closing is bringing someone to a decision, yes or no. That's it. But when we ask people, yes, do they want to take the next step, yes or no? Oftentimes they won't tell us immediately yes or no. What will we usually get when we ask for the business?
Like a lot of, let me think about it.
It's not the right time.
Yeah.
Yes. This
Objections.
is objections.
Yep.
Get objections. And an average, you should expect objections. On the average cycle of a sale, we usually get four objections. And so I call this kind of, we have to go into an objections close dance. So there's a very specific formula that's incredibly effective to follow when we're answering objections. And when we do that, we follow the formula and then we reclose for the business. And we kind of go back and forth until we get to a yes or a no, ideally. But regardless of whether or not they say yes or no to us, if we provided value throughout this process, we presented the opportunity and we brought them to a decision, whether they say yes or no, what should we always ask for at the end of this process?
Referral.
Yes. Oh my gosh, you guys are like star students. Yes, we should definitely ask for referrals. And then after you collect referrals, you get some background information about that referral. You approach them, you find their needs in the introduction, you present and you close. And that's why it's a cycle. One step feeds into the next. And this gets really fun when we're constantly feeding the cycle of the sale with warm names to call. Isn't it way more fun to call on warm names than it is to cold reach out? Yes, I know it is for me anyway. So, by show of hands, who has identified a step of the sales process where they feel they could use some improvement? And I know we went through that quickly. Okay, I'd love to shout out. Let's have 3, 4 people. What's your step of the cycle of the sale that you'd like to work on more?
Close.
Yeah, mine also.
Asking for the business.
I want to kind of know what exactly pre-approach, what you do in pre-approach. I was writing, you said that, so I was a little confused on that.
I will go through this really quickly, and this could be a future training to more detail. I know we're going to move through this fast. Here's the best thing about pre-approach. If you get a referral, here's the question you want to ask. What do you respect most about this person? Because regardless of whether or not they are going to respond to your approach and say yes for a next step, if you share with them what this referring person respected most about them, they're going to leave that interaction with you feeling awesome. So there's more on pre-approach, but here's your thing. Ask, what do you respect most about this person? So between the introduction and the presentation on the cycle of the sale, most people will say that they believe the most important part of the cycle of the sale is the presentation, but top producers agree the sale is actually made in the introduction, because that is where we uncover their true pain points and determine, is this a qualified prospect for me or not? So I have to ask you all, and I already heard this, so I know what the answer is going to be. Have you ever experienced a situation where you've gotten all the way to the end of the presentation, you've talked all about why they would be so great as a cause entrepreneur, they're with you the whole time, you feel like you're connecting well, you're already counting those rings you're going to close in your head, and you're thinking how awesome they're going to be on your team, and they say, this is fantastic, I love this. But I need to think about it. Or this sounds great, but the timing's not right. Can you call me in 6 months? Or this is awesome, but I just really need to talk to my spouse. Or, that I'm not sure that I can make this investment of time right now. Have you guys experienced any of those before?
Absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah.
All the time.
Yes.
And matter of fact, I had
Yes.
one yesterday. I was supposed to do a discovery call, and I knew she put on her sheet that she's gonna she was interested in giving back and mentoring. I was like, cool, no problem. I said, do you mind if I have my mentor on a 3-way call? We can get some stuff going. She's like, sure. It was almost like a ghost today. It was like, hello, are you there?
Mm-hmm.
So I left a message, still follow up with her in a couple of days. So that's usually my hang up. Like, you got them, you give them all the information, and then it's the crickets along the way. So and it kind of makes you feel, but don't feel like you've given all you had, but it kind of makes you feel like, okay, did I miss something?
Yeah. And I want to first off just say to you, way to go for doing the deal and having the conversations and setting the appointments. Because that right there is where it all starts. So congrats to you for doing that and getting people in front of Lori. Some people are going to show up. Some will, some won't, right? But when we get these objections, the truth is oftentimes they don't buy in, not because they're actually going to go home and think about it, or they honestly needed to talk to their cousins, girlfriends, lawyers, dog, or whatever, but it's because we did not ask the right questions. So they don't truly understand, and they're not linking the benefit to them that would justify making that potentially scary leap to join your team. So we didn't create enough urgency for them to move forward. And we know, because Kawanda just shared, it makes you feel like, did I miss something? It's frustrating. No one likes to be ghosted. Nobody likes to do all this effort and have people essentially feel like they blow you off. So if I could share with you all one way to help you prevent that from happening more often than not, would that be a good use of our time right now? Okay, so what we're going to do is we are going to work through this idea called CLASP. So I want everybody to write down this acronym CLASP. C like cat, L, A, S like Sam, P like Paul. And I want us to think about, like, if we had a watch or like a bracelet, I want you to think about the clasp on your bracelet. Like, the bracelet isn't welded to your wrist, but it is secure. So similarly, once you've clasped your prospect, it's not like they've signed on the dotted line. This isn't a conversation to get to a sale, but they are bought into what you're selling or offering them. They're bought into the opportunity and have given you a loose commitment to move forward with them before you've even started presenting solutions. We're getting permission in CLASP essentially to sell to them, okay? So C stands for currently, all right? These are questions that you need to ask to understand your prospect's current situation. And these are also rapport building questions. I heard someone say earlier, we need to make sure we're building rapport. When we ask about them and their family and their current situation and where do they work and how long have they been there, and what about their grandbabies, all those things, we're building rapport and we're uncovering some of the things that we need to understand about their situation so we know whether or not we've got a prospect here. And I'm sure you guys are doing currently questions really well right now. So the L stands for like. So you actually want to ask your prospect what they like about their current situation, especially when it comes to recruiting a teammate. So many salespeople are afraid to ask, what do you really like about what it is that you do? Because they don't want their prospect talking about like what they like about what they're currently doing. But why is it important to ask them the like question? The first reason we ask this question is because they are telling you what is most important to them. They are telling you why they make decisions. This is really important for us to know. The second and even more important reason is that it builds trust. So they're not expecting you, if they think you're about to have a conversation about that you potentially recruiting them to the team, they're not expecting you to ask a question like that. So it surprises them, it drops their guard, and it allows them to talk about what they like about what they're currently doing. It allows them to open up. And when they do that, it allows them to let their guard down, and they will start to tell you the things that they don't like about their situation, which leads us to the next step, which is alter. So these are the questions that we need to ask to discover what our prospect will want to change about their situation. This is why you find out why they're meeting with you in the first place, because if they're having this conversation with you, odds are pretty darn good that they at least have a little bit of interest in what it is that you have to offer. So we need to uncover, what are their challenges? Is it that they feel completely overworked and they long for time and financial freedom? They want more time with their kids, more time with their grandkids. They want to maybe retire a little earlier. So this is what we're uncovering in the altar. And I always say that if we don't have a pain point, we really don't have a prospect. So our job in our CLASP conversation is simply to uncover it. Do I actually have someone who's open to learning more about what this opportunity has to offer? Maybe they feel bad about the fact that they're not giving like they want to. I mean, that's a really great thing to uncover. So we want to uncover pain points here. Next question is signer. So to avoid wasting time and getting caught off guard, we need to be asking, are there other people who need to be involved in this process to make the decision? So I say something like, hey, I don't want to step on any toes here. And I know you were telling me all about your spouse. Is he always involved when you make decisions like this? Or is this something that you can move forward with on your own? And if she says, oh man, I always bring John into the mix on these decisions, then we need to make sure we get John in the decision-making process as early as possible. Like, could potentially even be as early as one of the first conversations when you bring Lori into the mix, depending on how adamant they are in that answering that question about how much John's going to be in the mix. And when we do that, what we're doing is we're overcoming the I need to talk to my spouse objection up front because we've already asked. And then what we want to do, and this is the crux here, and I want to share with you, you can clasp someone in 5 minutes at a tasting. So if you have someone who has some interest, you can stand around with them afterwards and sip a glass of wine and do your thing and ask them currently, and what do you like? And what are some things you'd like to change or have happen differently? And, oh, you mentioned your spouse. Does he get involved with these kind of things? And then you paint the picture. And this is what we do is we want to use an if-then question. We just summarize what you talked about and we bring it all together in the form of an if-then question. So it sounds a little like this. If I could show you something that had all of these things that you like about your current situation, and basically you're just repeating back to them the things that they really like, and also had the things that you would like to see improved, the opportunity to slowly build your wealth and give you a second reoccurring source of revenue, or whatever the things are they said that were important to allow you the time freedom. So if I could show you something that had all of the things that keeps what you like about your current situation and also gives you an opportunity to improve these things, then would you give me an opportunity to share with you more about what it's like to be a cause entrepreneur? Or would you give me the opportunity to get you in front of my amazing leader, Lori, for a casual conversation? So if I could do this and that, then can I do this? Make sense? If then, pretty simple. All you're doing is repeating back to them and you're simply asking them, would you be open to giving me an opportunity? Make sense? Pretty simple. So if you've done that properly, what do you think their answer is going to most likely be most of the time? It's going to be yes.
Yes.
And if it's not yes, then that is great because you know you don't have a prospect. Now we're not wasting anybody's time. We're not chasing anybody. So at this point, when you get a yes or a no, we've effectively clasped them. And they have given you express permission to put them into your recruiting pipeline. Okay? How many of you guys like that technique? Would this be something that we could see using a version of it? Okay, awesome. So, second habit of top producers is that they guard their self-talk. They fiercely guard their self-talk. So I want you to write this down as number 2. So we are all constantly talking to ourselves about ourselves, either out loud or inside our heads or both. So what we say to ourselves about ourselves or our situations is our self-talk. And the truth is that our self-talk naturally goes negative. It just does. I mean, our brain is not designed to keep us happy. Our brain is designed to keep us safe and comfortable and preserve energy. So I want you to think about some of the things that you say to yourself that might not be very positive. Do you ever make excuses for yourself about why you didn't get up on time, or why you didn't exercise, or why you didn't make those phone calls or those reach outs? And maybe you say like, I know I should, but I don't have the time, or, I could be the top of the top, but I just really don't want to work that hard. That's going to take way too much work. Or, I've seen that done before, but it doesn't work for me. That's just not for me. So have we ever said those kinds of things to ourselves? Like, look at your tiny little Hollywood square faces here on my screen. Yeah, I know I do. This is something I run into big time. And what we find out is we often are saying things like, I could be successful. I could be where I wanted to be in the business. I could be totally fulfilled. I could be, if. By show of hands, how many of us have had those kind of thoughts? My hand's raised here, right? Yes, absolutely. So this is human nature, okay? So it's not that top producers don't have negative self-talk. We all do. It's just that we recognize that these thoughts, we call them rationalizations because they're lies. They are lies that we've told ourselves so many times because they sound so rational that we believe that they are true. And what happens is that we say them often so many times that we don't even recognize these thoughts for what they are, which is self-limiting beliefs. A belief is just simply a thought that we have thought over and over and over and over again. And these self-limiting beliefs are holding us back from the things that we want most in life. And we just think that those thoughts are reality. So I mentioned this before in coaching, this is getting that motivation piece in line. It's so important. Your coach works with you to help you identify what are those self-limiting beliefs that are holding you back. And then they work with you to help you rewrite your programming, because that's all it is. It's just we've programmed ourselves with this negative self-talk over and over again. Because when you rewrite your programming, you rewrite your story. It's incredibly powerful. And a simple technique that you can start to use right now is I would encourage you to create a list of positive thoughts to combat your typical negative self-talk. So I use a list of positive quotes, I use scripture, I use different things that I can look at when I'm feeling this negative thought like, oh, this is never going to work out for me, or oh, I'm just too exhausted to do that today. And when I'm thinking those thoughts, I'm like, oh, got to guard my self-talk. And I go to the list of positive self-talk to replace it with. So it's not that top producers don't have negative self-talk. They just form the habit. There's that word again. They form the habit of catching themselves or having someone else help them catch those negative thoughts early, so they don't form into those limiting beliefs. So top producers guard their self-talk. Okay, third and final habit we're going to talk today. We see with all top producers is they are excellent managers of their time and they take action now. So let's write that down. Take action now. So what I want everybody to do is I want everyone to rate themselves on a scale of 1 to 10. Okay? You don't have to share. I'm not going to ask you all to share with me, but I want you to rate yourself. So this is about how proactive we are with our time. So a 10 is someone who plans out their week before the week starts, so that when Monday morning comes, they just wake up and they execute. They've not only planned out their appointments, but what they do in between their appointments, when they're going to check their email, whose calls they need to return. They plan out that personal life that's so important, their exercise. They do what they planned to do. And so when they end the day, they feel really good about what they accomplished, and then they can be really present with their family and loved ones. They're laser focused on working when it's time to work, and then they turn off work when it's time to turn off work. So that's a 10. A 1 is someone who has really good intentions, but at most maybe writes out a to-do list. They maybe put their scheduled appointments on their calendar and that's it. And then they end up reacting throughout the day and week to whatever is barking the loudest or like flashing the brightest at them. So everything feels like an emergency. Everything is urgent. So it's like we're becoming a slave to our email, or we don't ever get to our email. At the end of their to-do list is that next to-do list. We feel stressed, we get overwhelmed, we feel behind. And at the end of the day, when we're a 1, a 2, a 3, we're not taking care of ourselves and we aren't present with the ones that we love because we're thinking about all of the things that we should have done during the day. And we end up procrastinating so often and we just feel like we're never getting ahead. So I want to ask you, with that scale, where are you on most days? Where are you on most days? Think it through. Just raise your hand when you have your number. Again, I'm not going to ask you to share. All right. You guys are with me or engaging with me. It's great. So I have another tough question. So I want you to ask yourself, if you are not an 8, 9, or 10 on most days, what is that costing you? Yeah. And I very specifically said what and not how much. Because for some of us, I mean, we're in commission-based sales, it's costing us money, potentially a lot of money. There's so much amazing financial freedom that's available to you. But it also may be costing you your peace, your health, your relationships. And for some of us, and I know this is a big one for me, I know I'm slipping down on this scale. The biggest cost of not operating at our best in 8, 9, or 10 is just guilt. It's that guilty feeling that you get in the pit of your stomach, knowing that you're not hitting your fullest potential. So this, as I mentioned on the triangle, systems are the number one reason why people get into coaching, because their coach works with them to help them identify each of our clients. We help uncover, like, what should you eliminate? What should you be protecting fiercely in your calendar? And we also work with you to help you identify the things that you need to be doing no matter what, and create a plan for how you can get those things done consistently. And today I'm going to share an idea with you that's going to help you move from whatever number that you're at right now, just a little bit closer to a 10. So would that be okay if I shared one idea with you? Awesome. All right. So in the interest of time, I'm going to jump right to this. Here we go. So again, it's not like top producers don't have procrastination tendencies here. It's not, it is about, they are laser focused on their income producing activities. And I bet for all of you, your most important income producing activities are making those calls to set appointments for tastings and running tastings and setting and holding appointments with Lori for potential teammates. Do I have that pretty close? So we know what our income producing activities are. And what the idea I want to share with you is the idea of an ideal schedule. I'm going to show you a schedule, and I don't want you guys to get all hung up in the schedule, because I just want to show you the concept here. So this is an ideal schedule. An ideal schedule is a template for what a week should look like. And I know many of you thinking right now, I'm like, oh my gosh, Jess, I don't live in the ideal world. I live in the real world. There's no way for me to plan my time with that much detail. Like, But here's the 2 principles I want to impart upon you today. Is one, especially for those of you, I think most of you are working your One Hope business in conjunction with your whatever job you have, or you're leading a family, whatever it may be. So the 2 principles is one, if you don't at least know what an ideal week looks like, we're not going to come close to experiencing one. So this person here, she's in real estate. The reason why I showed this to you is all this green stuff is her income producing activity time. Like, really, the rest of this day can go totally to pot. But what she wants the accountability is around is to do the green time on her schedule. That's her income producing time. Because she knows, and this is the second principle behind this, is the amount of busy work that you have will always expand to fill the time that you allow for it, always. So if we don't plan our time and protect this income producing activity time, it's going to get filled with busy work. It just is. It's just human nature. It's not going to be filled with income producing activities. So one very important habit that top producers develop is the habit of protecting their income producing activities and taking action on them when they've allotted the time to do so. They're taking action on the things that are most important in their business. So the good news is that all of these habits that I've just gone over, all of these are controllables. Remember the anatomy of a result, the triangle? Student of the game is a skill habit. Guard your self-talk is a motivation habit, and take action now is a systems habit. These are all within our control. So as we move to the next part of our workshop, I'm just hoping that each one of us can have some honest awareness and ownership about where in your life you might not be doing your best. And I want to hear from some of you. Like, if you had to pick just one of these 3 things to focus on, which one would you most need to strengthen? Shout it out. I'd love to hear from a few people. Of these 3, what do we want to work on most?
Self-talk.
Taking action.
Take action.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's no
Action.
right or wrong answer here.
Mm.
I just challenge you. Whatever you choose is obviously the right choice for you. My challenge for you is just to actually follow through, take action on it, do it. Is that fair? Yeah. Well, you guys are great. I love all this engagement. So we're going to do one last little exercise, and then we're going to wrap up. Kim, I'm going to have you help me with this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show a slide. And what I want all of you to do is count the number of letter F's like Frank on this slide. We're going to count the number of letter F's like Frank on this slide. So I'm going to have Kim read the slide, and your job is simply to count the number of letter F's. And you can drop in the chat the number of F's that you see. If you've seen this before, you can just like let everybody else play along. But let's do this. So Kim, I'm going to show the slide and you just read it for us, okay? Counting the number of letter F's for the rest of you.
Finished files are the result of years of scientific study combined with the experience of many years.
Okay, let's drop some numbers in the chat. How many F's did we see? Love it, love it. Okay, getting all kinds of numbers in here. Fantastic. 3, 5, 6. So there are 6 F's on this slide. And let me share with you why I did this, why we're talking about perspective here. 2 reasons. Number 1 is most people, when they do this the first time, they answer 3 or 4. And the reason why is because we see those ofs as V. So we read the F as a V. The second reason I show it to you is because everybody was looking at the same slide, and yet we got a lot of different answers. So one of our coaching clients, a guy named Kevin Anderson, he's with a Obsidian group. One of the things that he said to his coach, he was like, man, if Tiger Woods needs 3 coaches to provide outside perspective, I probably should have at least 1. So with that in mind, would it be okay if we spent just a minute or 2 and I shared with you just a little bit about what our ongoing one-on-one coaching programs are about? Would that be okay if I shared with you? Okay, we're going to go over this very quickly. I'm going to hit it high level because it's not rocket science, it's just coaching. And I also, like I said at the beginning, is I'll give you an opportunity to enroll if you want to. If something hit you in the gut today that made you feel like I really need some accountability, I need to be a student of the game, whatever the thing is, I need help taking action now, and you feel like partnering with a coach would benefit your business, then I would encourage you to get a coach. But if this is not for you for whatever reason, that is absolutely okay too. So wherever you find yourself is fine. It's just my job to present the opportunity to you. Is that okay? Okay. So 3 main reasons why people get into coaching. The first main reason why people get into coaching is because they want to increase their income. And the fact is that when you get accountability to do the things that you know you need to do, and you go to work on those skill sets that we talked about, and you have someone helping you with your motivation and systems, you just make more money. On average, over the life of our coaching program, our clients see a 25% increase in their income. Last year, our clients saw a 46% increase in income. Second reason why people get a coach is that systems piece, is they want to do more with less time. So we work with a guy named Jim Cavall, and he's a small business owner. He got together with his coach for systems. Within 2 to 3 coaching calls, they did a deep dive into his schedule, which was very full, and they found 100 extra hours in his schedule over the next couple of months. I just think about like how much we can do with 100 extra hours. in our calendar. So people will get a coach because they want that systems piece. They want to do more with less time. And then the third reason why people get a coach, and this is actually the reason why I hired Southwestern. I was a coaching client for 2.5 years. I hired Southwestern because I was tired of feeling like I was capable of so much more and letting my lack of self-confidence and my limiting beliefs hold me back from doing what I knew that I was capable of. So people will get a coach to work on confidence. So what comes in your coaching? So the coaching program, our coaching program is one-on-one coaching, 2 times a month for 45 minutes to an hour. You're paired with your coach based on personality questionnaires. I kind of joke that it's like we kind of do a Match.com profile to pair you with your coach, like a less creepy sort of way. So we're very intentional about how we pair you up with your coach, and your coach works with you on the things you need to work on. So we customize the program and the content depending on what it is that you need to accomplish. We also develop a learning program for you. So we have modules, we have videos. So you and your coach will craft a program for you that helps you consume the content and learn the way that is best for you. And then we also have the CSFs, which is an activity tracking system. So we set up a customized activity tracking system. You might need to track, like, how many times do I ask for a tasting, or how many times do I ask for someone to meet with Lori, or how many of those meetings do I hold, or how many times do I drink water or hit the gym or date night with my spouse, whatever it might be. We customize and track for you on a daily basis the things that are most important to you. We're going to give you that accountability to doing those income producing activities consistently. That's the program high level. There's 125 coaches. There's 125 me across the country, just as a little sidebar. So that's where I say we want to do our best to pair you up with a coach that's the right fit for you and what you're trying to accomplish in your business. Okay, so how do I know this is for me? This is a really fair question, because this program is not for everyone, and that's totally okay. I believe everyone should have a coach. I also understand that our coaching is not for everyone. So there's 3 questions that you need to ask yourself to help you determine if coaching is right for you. And if you can answer yes to all 3 of these questions, then there's a really good odds that this program is the right fit and you'll have success. And that first question is, you need to ask yourself is, am I coachable? And what I mean by that is, am I really in a place in my business right now where I'm ready to partner with someone, go arm in arm, get outside of my comfort zone, and really work with someone on a regular, consistent basis to help me get to where I want to go in my business? The second question is, am I committed? So again, our program is not for everyone, and we ask for a minimum of a 12-month commitment. And the reason why is it goes back to that habits thing. So we're in the business of helping people change their habits, and that takes time. So that means we need you to see you through a full season of your life to help you make those permanent habit changes. So are you committed to the process of this journey of personal growth and development? And then the third question is, am I ready to change? And this is a really big one. I had a client that just enrolled last week, and he said, one of the things I uncovered was like, his name's Dewey. And Dewey said, I feel like I'm Einstein's definition of insanity. Like, I'm doing the same thing over and over again, and I'm expecting different results. I have to make changes here. So are you ready to change? And if you can say yes to those 3 things, it's a really good sign this coaching could be for you. So how much is it? One-on-one coaching with a certified coach, customized to you. I will tell you, it's not inexpensive. And many of you watching me right now, this may not be something that's in the ballpark for you right now, and that's totally okay. But I want to share with you our pricing. For some people, it's a really great fit. So this gives you an example of what we've seen for other one-on-one coaching programs. All these people listed are actual clients of ours. This is what they were paying for one-on-one coaching before they became a client of ours. So most people are expecting that this one-on-one program is going to be several $1,000s. And I'm so excited to share with you all that it's not $2,000 a month. It's just $1,999 a month. Kidding, bad joke. Okay, I'm kidding. Ah. All right, it's actually You get an incredible coach, a customized coaching program for $700 a month. And it's like my coaching client, Victoria Maripodi, said to me, she's like, listen, Jessica, she's been coaching a couple of years. The fact that I make more money is great. I love it. But the reality is, I have a better relationship with my husband and my daughter. I have better balance in my life. And that is worth more to me than you'll ever know. So with that in mind, you know the whole deal now. And I'd like to take just a moment. We're going to bring Lori back to the stage. Look at her beautiful Lori. I love this photograph of you. And Lori's going to share just a couple of thoughts. And I have a few more things to go over with you. And then we're going to be all wrapped up here in about, I don't know, 7 minutes or so. Lori, I'm going to turn it over to you.
We're on the clock. First of all, thank you so much. That was really lovely. And I took 5 or 6 pages of notes, so I really appreciate it. So thank you. And thank you all of you for coming and soaking this in, because it is really important stuff. I'm going to just talk a little bit about I've not coached with Jessica. As I said, we met a few times to put this together. I'm going to speak to my experience with coaching. As I was listening, and especially at her wrap up, I remember being in with a particular coaching thing, and it was stirring me. What he was saying was resonating with me, and I was like, wow, and it was absolutely terrifying. I got super excited because I was like, holy crap, this could change things. Like, wow, I'm really committed to this, and this could really change my business. And ultimately it did change my business tremendously and my life, etc. But I also remember sweating bullets about thinking about it. Was like, holy my gosh, that is so much money. And I wasn't making a whole lot of money at the time, I'll tell you right now. And I went out and I talked to my husband, and I was like, oh my gosh, what do you think? I feel like this could really. And anyway, ultimately I jumped in. It was freaking terrifying, and it was hard. Like, it was hard to manage financially, but I was super committed. So I just, I kind of give a pitch. I believe in investing in yourself. I believe in investing in your business. I also believe and know from the bottom of my heart that this is maybe not the time for many, if not most of you. And that's fine. And Jessica's nodding. And this is not really a conversation that we had before, but it's a no joke. It's a lot of money. And just anyway, but if you're feeling stirred, if you're feeling like, wow, she was really speaking to me, I would just urge you to think about it. And, and talk to, I think, if I'm not mistaken, Jessica's going to give you an opportunity, to chat with her or whatever. Feel free to ask me about it. I know Kaz has done personal coaching, one-on-one coaching. And anyway, that's what I would say is coaching can really, really, really shift your business and your life. And that's what I'll leave it at. Jessica, is that good? How'd I do?
That was awesome. Thank you
true.
for sharing from the heart. And I stand with you in your comments as well, as we understand that this is likely not for most of you, maybe not right now, and that's totally okay. But here's what I'm going to do. And I will be honest with all of you. Whenever I get to this part, I always get I feel a little squeamish about doing it. But what I realize is that if I walk you through and show you a cycle of the sale, and I say, your job as a salesperson is to ask for the business, and I don't ask for the business, well, that makes me look like a big hypocrite. So here is me asking you potentially, what I'm just asking you is to categorize yourselves and let me know where you are in your decisioning process. So what I'm going to have you do is text me, and you have my cell phone number now because you all been texting me your gifts and memes and stuff. If not, I have it right here at the top of the screen, what category you're in. And a 1 is someone that's like, you know what? I don't need to think about, I just know I need to do this. I need to jump in, send me a 1, and you and I are going to jump on a call and we'll talk about what the next steps are to get you paired with your coach. Okay. That's a 1. A 2 is, I got that gut feeling Lori said. I'm kind of freaking out a little bit. I think I need to pair with a coach. However, I need to talk with you more, Jess. I need to make 100% sure this is a right fit for me. If that's you, you're a 2, and we'll text back and forth and schedule a time over the next week for us to get together and talk and figure out, is this a right fit really or not? That's a 2. A 3 is got some stuff today. Thanks, but no thanks, not for me. So everybody should just send me, what number are you? Are you a 1, a 2, or a 3? And whatever number you are is fine. So no stress or pressure about it. Just let me know where you stand. And I hear some numbers coming through. Thank you, guys. And it's another way to say thank you. Because again, if I show you the cycle of the sale and I don't ask for some introductions at the end, it again makes me a hypocrite, but I want to give to you as a thank you. And so as you're sending me your numbers, I want to give you the opportunity to get for for free. We call it the action package, but what it is it's basically an 8-hour sales training. So it's all of our best sales ideas, expanded ideas around what you've learned today in 8 hours. It's kind of like getting an MBA in selling. So I'm going to send this to you for free. This is going to be really great for those of you who are like, I wish I could do this, but I just can't make it happen right now. This is one of our best trainings. And I will send this to you as a thank you if you share with me the names of 2 people I can introduce myself to. So I did this workshop for Lori complimentary. This workshop is always complimentary. So this workshop makes really great sense for people like Lori who lead a team of salespeople. So a great introduction for me is someone who, like, think about who refinanced your mortgage a couple of years ago, who sold you your house recently. Mortgage people, realtors, insurance agency owners, people who have solar companies. All of these different types of businesses typically have a sales leader, and they often have a sales meeting, and they love having me come in and do this workshop for free, either virtually or in person. So if you would be willing to share with me a couple of names of leaders, if you'll share with me 2, I'm not going to just give you a chance. I'm going to send you the action package as a thank you. So you can just text me their name and their best contact info, and I'd love a little pre-approach. And you send me 2, and I'll send you the action package as a thank you. So an easy way to get more training, complimentary. So that's it from me today. Lori, thank you.
Thank you
so much.
you.
You care about your people. I mean, her heart for all of you, it's something really special. You guys have an incredible group. You have an amazing leader. And I really am honored to take this time with you this evening. So thank you so much for the time today. And thank you, Lori, for all that you do.
Thank you so much. Really a wonderful, wonderful training. I loved everything I got out of it. I hope you guys all did. Reach out, you guys, if you have questions. Okay. And
yep, you've got my cell phone number. Just reach out to me. I'm here for you. So I'm going to stop the share, and I'm actually going to drop off. I don't know if you guys had things that you needed to do